Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, beloved friends, and welcome once again to our Divine Loss program. I am Correa, and we are here on Kardec Radio every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to nourish our souls together. So thank you, beloved friends, for making the decision to join the circle of divine light and divine love that shall reach ourselves, those in our network, and other brothers and sisters in much greater need than ourselves. Thank you, beloved friends, each and every one who is here or on demand, for choosing to co-create the good together and to inspire us to continue co-creating the good in this beautiful, blessed reincarnation. The focus of our attention tonight is going to be on question 917 of the Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec. We shall read Kardec's question, then we shall also read Fenelon's The Spirit's Answer. Afterwards, we shall bring a couple of highlights and end this therapeutic moments with thoughts of gratitude. Shall we begin then, beloved friends? Kardec in question 917 asks the following question. What is the means for destroying selfishness? Very important question for immortality. The answer from the Spirit Fenelon is as follows. Of all human imperfections, the most difficult to uproot is selfishness, because it is connected to the influence of matter from which human beings, still so close to their origin, have not been able to free themselves. Everything concurs to sustain its influence: your laws, your social organizations, and your education. Selfishness will be weakened with the predominance of the moral life over the material life, and especially with the understanding that Spiritism gives you concerning your true future state, which is no longer distorted by allegorical fictions. When it is well understood and identified with customs and beliefs, Spiritism will transform habits, usages, and social relations. Selfishness is founded upon the importance of the personality. When well understood, I repeat, Spiritism enables you to see things from such an evolved point of view that the sentiment of personality somehow disappears, so to speak, before the immensity of it all. Upon destroying the self-importance, or at least showing it for what it is worth, Spiritism necessarily combats selfishness. It is the shock that humans experience from the selfishness of others that usually makes them selfish in turn, because they feel the need to put themselves on the defensive. Seeing that others think only of themselves and not of them, they are in turn led to be concerned about themselves more than about others. Let the principle of charity and fraternity be the basis of social institutions and the legal relations between nations and individuals, and all will think less of themselves when they see that others are doing so too. Thus, they will undergo the moralizing influence of example and contact. In the light of the present overflowing of selfishness, true virtue is needed to sacrifice one's own personality for the sake of others, who generally do not recognize it. It is to those, above all, who possess this virtue that the kingdom of heaven is opened. For them specially is reserved the bliss of the elect, because I can truly tell you that on the day of judgment, those who have only thought of themselves will be cast aside and will suffer abandonment. Fenelon. Beloved friends, what an empowering answer from the spirit mentor Fenelon, because through this answer we have the tools necessary to uproot selfishness in ourselves. Why ourselves? Because any change taking place externally is but a mere reflection of the change that is conducted internally. This is why the wise spirit, known in his last incarnation as Mahatma Gandhi, used to say, quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." So, beloved friends, if we wish to see a society that is less selfish, we are the ones who are being invited to practice more selflessness. How come, Carol? How come it starts with us? Because, beloved friends, we have been blessed with the knowledge of Spiritism. We have been blessed with the certainty of immortality. And this is one of the first keys that is offered to us by the Spirit Mentor Fenelon in question 917 to help us open the door of renewal in our inner world. What is that key, Carol? That key, beloved friends, is for us to exercise on a daily basis, looking at our lives from an eternal perspective. Only in that way can we feel empowered to prioritize the acquisition of moral virtues, the very developmental milestones that we incarnated to acquire. For instance, let us take Chico Xavier as an example, beloved friends. He, to the world, was seen, quote unquote, as a humble person who didn't quite know how to, quote unquote, live life. However, from an immortal perspective, we know that Chico Xavier has ascended to high spheres in the spiritual realm. Why? Because from day one, he prioritized his immortal life. At the age of 17, in a country that was not fully spiritist back then, he made the choice to be an outlier and to stand up for his beliefs rather than going with the flow and choosing to do as the Spirit Fenelon mentions in this question, what is applauded by society, what is considered socially acceptable even by laws, Chico Xavier decided to dedicate his life to others, whereas young men of his age at that time were concerned about forming a family, were concerned about meeting others, were concerned about spending time with their peer groups. Chico Xavier started psychographing because he knew that psychographing would books from the high spirits above us would bring us food for the soul, would nourish our souls, not only during this lifetime, but for lifetimes to come, and would spread light for generations. How come Chico Xavier was able to make such a decision, beloved friends? Was he a missionary spirit? Absolutely no doubt. Was he prepared prior to reincarnating? Absolutely no doubt. However, he was able to make this choice of prioritizing the moral life, as Fenelon names it, because he was able to look at his existence from a more evolved, higher perspective. If he only attached himself to his current personality, current body, current family circle, current opportunities for material prosperity, then he may have prioritized other goals in life. But thank God, beloved friends, Chico Xavier and Kardec himself were able to prioritize the quote unquote moral life. Kardec as well. He was a renowned educator. He was part of the most influential circles in the France of that time. However, he was able to renounce everything to make known to humanity the truth. What is the truth? That there is life after life, that our actions have consequences, that we come back to the bodily physical existence many times, that we are given opportunities to repair our own mistakes as educational um, proposals from the on high. Kardec renounced his reputation, renounced his former career, renounced comfort, renounced recognition in order to allow the light that came into his recognition to become available and public to anyone that wished to see it. And his ability to sacrifice his own personality is so wonderful, beloved friends, that he named the very book that we are studying at this very moment not Kardec's book, but he named it Spirit's book, taking his personality completely out of the equation, not taking credit for the work of the illuminated minds for whom he was a vehicle, not as a medium per se, but as the codifier. He was able to diminish himself so as to allow the light of the truth to shine. This is a beautiful example of selflessness. And this is what Fenelon is proposing to each and every one of us, that on a daily basis we practice looking at our lives from a higher, more evolved perspective, number one. And two, that we give of the light that has been offered to us to others. There are a twofold set of steps, or there is a single process broken down into two parts by Fenelon for us. Didactically, Fenelon invites us to, first of all, look at life from a higher, more evolved perspective, and two, practice giving of ourselves, practice charity. It is in taking these two steps, beloved friends, that we shall reorganize our inner dwelling vibratorily. And thus, by vibrating higher, we shall connect with other minds that are ahead of us and already know what selflessness is. They shall inspire us, and we, little by little, shall inspire others as well until selflessness becomes the norm, because this is the direction towards which we are all marching, having our beloved Master Jesus as our number one model and guide. Yes, beloved friends. So let us do this exercise together as proposed by Fenelon. Let us, in the next 24 hours, look at our lives from a more evolved, higher, immortal perspective. So when, for instance, we encounter a situation that could potentially be frustrating for us because our expectations have not been fully met, let us, rather than complain, look at the same situation from a higher perspective and ask ourselves, what shall be the immortal lesson behind this scenario? We shall tell ourselves, because God loves us, we are certain that the situation came about in our lives today because God believes we are ready to demonstrate a particular virtue. For instance, dear friends, if no one tests our patience, how shall we then acquire this virtue? If no one frustrates us, how shall we then practice forgiveness? So let us see the other side of the coin. Usually on earth, the majority of us are very good at looking at the problem. But let us flip in our internal lenses in the next 24 hours and decide purposefully to focus on the divine lesson brought to us by God. All of us, beloved friends, or the majority of us anyhow, have a cell phone. The pictures our cell phone takes depends upon the angle to which we direct our camera. Rather than, in the next 24 hours, directing the camera of our hearts and minds to what we lack, to reasons to complain, let us turn the angle of our camera towards divine light and thus take a mental picture of the divine lesson behind a particular scenario. So this is our first therapeutic exercise. Our second therapeutic exercise, as proposed by Fenelon, shall be beloved friends, to give of ourselves, to be charitable, to spread the light that was given to us. So, first, we capture the light by shifting our mental lenses not from the problem to the divine lesson. After we capture the divine light in our lives, we propose to share it. We can share it, for instance, through a prayer, through a thought of gratitude, through a simple smile, through a thank you note, through a thank you text, through checking on a friend, through using our social media to spread words of optimism, through sharing a video that could inspire others, through buying a book or lending a book to someone that could spread hope to them. Let us, dear friends, also consider giving of our time and energy on behalf of others. Oftentimes, on our busy schedules, we carve time to do the good. But sometimes the call for doing the good knocks at our door at a moment when we least expect. Let us be open to the knocks that life may offer us so that we can become instruments of the good for others. In that way, we will be combating selfishness inside of ourselves, and we will be practicing together how to become more and more selfless, as our model and guide has demonstrated to us with every single step that he has taken on our beloved earth. So, what a beautiful proposal in our pathway together from selfishness to selflessness. Let us, beloved friends, feel the gratitude in our hearts for this blessed lesson. And let us continue counting our blessings together as we stay tuned right here on Kardec Radio, because on Kardec Radio there is always more with which to nourish our souls. Many blessings, dear friends. A big hug to everyone here from heart to heart. And until next time.